Welcome to a brand new update video. This is basically where I talk about a whole variety of different subjects, so let's dive straight in. Firstly, I really want to give a huge thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone for all the support that you've shown me. Without you, this channel really would be nothing, so it honestly does mean the world to me. Whether you are a supporter on Patreon or a YouTube member, which of course is a massive deal to me, or whether you're just a regular viewer, all of it comes together and makes for this wonderful community that has come together to represent my YouTube channel. So, yep, thank you very much for that. And as always, I've got lots of plans for content going forward, so many things to look forward to. So one big thing about these update videos is the Q&A side of it. This is where I ask the community to put some questions out there, some topics and suggestions which I can go through in these videos. So we've got a few from the YouTube members section and we've got a couple from Patreon, and we're going to go through those. Firstly though, I just want to talk about a couple of other points. Obviously the last few months has been a big deal. We've had the release of Elite Dangerous Odyssey. We've also seen a Microsoft Flight Simulator arrive on Xbox, and yeah, I've got a bunch of other things going on here as well. And incidentally, talking of Xbox and Microsoft, they sent this rather nice package to me this morning, which, as you can see, contains a great Lotus flight setup. Now, this is compatible with the Xbox, so it means I can fly with it on either the Series S or the Series X, something that we're going to be taking a look at over the coming days, I'm sure. So my thanks to Microsoft for sending this. It was completely unexpected, so a very nice surprise indeed. So on to those questions from the community. This is various topics and subjects here. Bruce D asks, do I know or have a feeling for the sounds of Elite Dangerous and Odyssey? Are they on track, or was there any missed forecasts? Can you compare this against what you know about the computer gaming industry in general? In other words, is Frontier holding its own in a tough market or what? So generally speaking, when it comes to Elite Dangerous on its own, Frontier are doing it very well. I think there's something like 12 million copies in circulation now. My understanding is about 8 million of them come from the recent free deal on Epic, where you could get Elite Dangerous for free, and the other 4 million come from actual physical sales or digital distributed sales. So, yep, Frontier have made a good amount of money from Elite Dangerous is my understanding. We also know from the financial records that Frontier have to publicise or make public in the United Kingdom that the company is doing very well financially. So in addition to the revenue they're making each year, we also know they're holding a lot of money in their bank account, and I'll try and include that information on the screen if I can track that down. So yeah, I don't think Frontier are hurting for money at all. I think they're in a very good place in the market. But the real issue certainly is Odyssey. There's no information on how they've done in sales there. It's also likely that Odyssey has hit their reputation pretty hard. It's something that Frontier are definitely trying to fix. They're coming through with that fairly well. With the recent update 6, they've made some good progress there. So I think it's just a matter of time. But overall, how well Odyssey does in terms of sales, I think we won't know for at least another year. We've got to get to the console release and then get past a few months, or get a few months past that as well, to see how everything actually unfolds. We also know that Frontier's share prices took quite a hit over the past few months, but that is showing some pretty good signs of recovery right now, so I don't think they're going to have any trouble there, at least long term. Overall then, my take on this is that Frontier financially are doing very well. Elite has done very well in the past, has hit some temporary snags meantime, but hopefully will carry on to do well in the future. Now, Torsten Sommer, and I apologise if I've pronounced your name wrong there, has got a bit of a different question here. So, something I would like to know your opinion of is how the game industry will develop in general. And for I Love Elite, how will Elite develop in particular? Are we seeing how Frontier developments has Elite past their customers because they think they know best? Numbers and statistics, for example, in Steam and Steam charts prove them wrong, besides all other feedback, and this is costing them money and reputation. What's your opinion? Would it be better to lead Elite or Frontier to concentrate on the basic gameplay and open the game up for content creators like in Roblox? Yeah, so no worries about your English there. I think it's very good, certainly better than my secondary languages, which are non-existent. So we've kind of touched on some of that in the previous segment there on how Frontier and Elite are managing financially, but in terms of the game itself, I do think Frontier should open things up a little bit more in terms of communication. I know they're trying to do that. They have a hugely strong presence on the forum nowadays, and they also got their monthly development update, which gives us a bit of insight as to the direction the game is heading in. Now, one example I really do like for all of this is Microsoft Flight Simulator and Asobo. They have, well, in my opinion anyway, is an absolutely fantastic setup here. I know a lot of you are simmers and players of Microsoft Flight Simulator, just like myself. It's a huge portion of what I do, and I know a lot of you are very dedicated to it. Basically, Asobo have a monthly Q&A with the developers, where this is live streamed, usually an hour and a half or so, just questions of addressing points from the community, as well as the direction of the sim in general. And this talks about points of current interest, as well as things going on into the future, sometimes 1, sometimes even 2 years ahead. It's an approach that has earned Asobo and Microsoft a lot of respect. That's not to say it's perfect. The recent Sim Update 5 has come with it more than its fair share of troubles, and throughout the early phases of that, Asobo and both Microsoft as well really didn't do too well in terms of communications. But that said, I do feel they turned it around very, very quickly, and I also feel that they have perhaps one of the best examples in the industry. Another good example is Digital Extremes. These, of course, are the developers behind Warframe, so both Asobo and Digital Extremes are developers that Frontier could learn a lot from when it comes to interacting with the community. In terms of the future of Elite Dangerous itself as a game, for me that really is a closed book. I have absolutely no idea, no clue what Frontier intend here. Now, I would like to see, like many other people, ship interiors. I'd also like to see full-on atmospheric planets and water worlds and live lava flying around and all the rest of it. But it just seems that even after all these years, it's going to be a very difficult thing for Frontier to pull off. And to be honest, they haven't shown really that much interest in heading in that type of direction. So unfortunately, it's not really a subject that I can talk about in too much detail. In terms of the games industry as a whole though, I think a lot of progress is being made here to open up new types of technology. And again, I'd cite Microsoft Flight Simulator as an example here. In that sim, we've got a full-on one-to-one recreation of the planet Earth, and it has some immense amount of detail. All of this helped by some very powerful technology that Microsoft have created, basically using their cloud technology. And like many others, I suspect that the move to cloud technology is something we're going to see a lot more of in the future. Whether this is full-on cloud usage, so streaming games from a remote server to the individual's screen, or whether it's just in part, like with Microsoft Flight Simulator, where it does a lot of the calculations and processing of graphics, it's harder to tell, but I do think either way we're going to see a greater emphasis on remote technology. A point here from Roland Larkham. I recently tried to contact Frontier support for the 4th time with no response or indication of acknowledgement. I've been playing Elite since Beta 2. Has Frontier given up on the game? So no, they've definitely not given up on the game. They're very committed to it and have shown a lot of work there. I think support is extremely busy, but I don't really know what's going on. I've seen a lot of comments from support on the forums and on Twitter, so they're definitely active. Maybe worth trying to tag them on Twitter perhaps. Bidey, do I think the Elite update delay for consoles will hurt sound? So that's where Odyssey has now been indefinitely delayed. It currently doesn't have a release date at all. Whether or not it actually hurts sounds, I think will depend on the quality that Odyssey is in at that particular time, and the measurement for that will be what Odyssey feels like and looks like on consoles. Personally speaking, I do feel that Odyssey needs a bunch of new content added to it between now and that time in the future. I have spoken about a few points. I'll link the video on the screen right now of some of the points they said that they will be adding into the game at some point in the future. But even still, I don't think that's quite enough, but I'm sure other people will. So if at some point in the future, when it comes to the release of Odyssey, if we've got a stable build, if it's in a good condition and it's got some additional content, then I don't think the delay will hurt sales too much. But yet Frontier have really got to overcome the poor reputation that Odyssey now has. So on that subject, again, I'm not actually beating up on Odyssey. Some people tend to think I'm beating up on the game when I talk about these things. As far as I'm concerned, the people are here to hear my opinion on things, and that is my opinion. It's also to some extent factual. Odyssey, of course, has hurt Elite's reputation and Frontier, so I'm not beating up on the game, I'm not beating up on Frontier, it is what it is. Commander Random Walk goes on to something very similar here, talking about some disappointment with the nature of what we got with Odyssey compared to what Elite Dangerous was originally involved with. So, basically, Commander Random Walk would have liked to have seen sci-fi megastructures flying into gas giants, flying into the atmosphere of stars, swimming in ice moons, secondary vehicles that have specific functions, and all the rest of it. So, I'm with you on that. I would like to have seen more space content, whether similar to what you've suggested there, or just things that we've talked about over the years, full on atmospheric planets, comets, and things such as that. And yes, gas giants as well. Whether or not these things will come in the future is not something I have any way of knowing. It really is a closed book to me, as I've said. But I think Frontier for now just want to get the problems with Odyssey out of the way, and they are certainly making some progress there. Over on Patreon, John has left a comment thanking me for the Flight Simulator videos and showing some support for them through Patreon. So again, as I said to you there on Patreon, John, thank you very, very much for your support. And I've got plenty more Flight Simulator content on the way. Some good Xbox ones as well. Like I say, I've got the flight stick here now, which is indeed compatible with the Xbox. So that's something I definitely want to take a closer look at. Should be very interesting to say the least. And finally, we come to 712. It's great to see you again here at 712. Always a pleasure to take a look at your points. So, back on the YouTube question, you say. Here's a question. I made a bunch of videos on my channel and started seeing my very first small, extremely small numbers. After creating a content base, I'm becoming more active over the next year. I assume you plan on becoming more active over the next year. What other social medias beside YouTube itself you think as a content creator should you be active on? So that's quite kind of a strange one for me. For me, I've only really been active on YouTube. I've class forums as social media, then I've been accessing the early days over on the official Elite Dangerous forums, and to some extent nowadays on the official Microsoft Flight Simulator forums. But in terms of other social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and all of that, for me, I tend not to really bother. Now, a lot of YouTubers will tell you, make sure you at least use Twitter or one of the other big ones, big platforms. For me, though, I've just not really had much interest in heading in that type of direction. And I don't know if that's harmed the growth of my content or not, but I'm quite happy with the direction I've gone in. So, don't worry about that sort of thing too much. Just focus on whatever it is you enjoy. So, if you just enjoy the YouTube content, then focus on that. If you enjoy the other social media platforms like Twitter in addition to YouTube, then certainly go and put some content on there as well. But don't see it as a necessity. I don't personally believe it is a necessity. It's just one of those things that some people see as a nice to have. So basically go with whatever you feel comfortable with doing and whatever you enjoy. That would be my advice. So that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. There's a couple of points I do want to address though right here at the end. One of those is the One Earth series I started way back in March. My original plan was to make one of those videos every 2 to 3 months. They take a lot of time, but it's a series I really do enjoy making. The launch of Elite Dangerous Odyssey got in the way of that a little bit, I've got to be honest, and I've also got a bunch of other things going on here in my personal life at the moment that has kind of held things up a bit. But don't worry, One Earth has not been forgotten. There will be another episode very soon, hopefully within the next few weeks, the next month or so. So do keep an eye out for that. It's content I very much enjoy producing. And also for those of you who are here mainly for Microsoft Flight Simulator, I realise this video has had a heavy Elite Dangerous focus, but I think that's pretty fair with what's been going on with Elite Dangerous recently. But if you have any topics or subjects or questions about the flight simming community that you'd like to see addressed in a future video, then you know where to leave them. Again, thank you to everyone for all your support over the years. It honestly does mean so much to me. Hope you enjoy the video. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys and girls next time.